So meeting Cloughy for the first time as a young lad, quite daunting really. I remember we walked in, I don't know if you know Nottingham Forest ground, but the big entrance, no one really used the big entrance. It was around the side where the players used to get off the coach and go through past the referee's changing room, and then the corridor went round. So I went up there with my agent, who was Frank McClintock at the time. He'd probably met Cloughy an awful lot of times and wasn't daunted by the fact, but we walked into the area. I remember just walking into that little area and hearing Cloughy's voice from around the corridor, booming out at different people, and seeing all the apprentices scarpering, running past us, running down the corridor that way, as if to say, I don't want to get in contact with the manager. You don't know what he's going to ask you, what he's going to tell you to do, what he's going to be. And he just came walking around the corridor and he went, Edward Sheringham, welcome to Nottingham. And I was like, how'd you get out of this one? I went, Mr. Clough, I don't really like Edward. Can you call me Teddy? It's only my mum calls me Edward. And he went, welcome to Nottingham, Edward, and walked off back into his office. And it was like, okay, he's the boss. Okay, he does what he wants then, doesn't he? So that was my first encounter with Cloughy. Playing for Forest, again, was a big eye-opener. I'd obviously played in the first division with Millwall before, but now I was stepping into playing with proper players, proper England players, proper top international players. We had the likes of Des Walker, who I'd played with against in my Sunday morning days. He used to play for Enfield Rangers. He was a wide left midfield player. Then all of a sudden I see him playing for Nottingham Forest. He's a centre half, and what a centre half as well, by the way. So I knew Des from my early days. He was playing for England at the time as well, at this early stage. Stuart Pearce was the England left back as well. Nigel Clough had been in and out the England as a centre forward. Roy Keane was a young midfield dynamo at the time. Had so much energy. He was very good for my game and Nigel's game. Every time the ball used to come up to us, he'd be running beyond us. So centre halves had to watch out for him. So he was great for my game. Playing for Cloughy was an eye-opener about how he wanted football to be played, just so simplistic. Very much like my dad had always taught me to play, play the way you're facing, help your mate, look after your mate, retain possession, go and enjoy the game. And that was Cloughy's simplistic views that he used to tell us every game. No big hysteria about pick this one up, watch what they do here, we're going to do corners, set pieces. Nope, there's only one ball coming into the area. Make sure you win it. If you don't win it, win the next ball, win the knockdown. That's it. That's as simple as it was. When you got it, look after it, enjoy the ball, go and play, help your mate, and that was it. So a big eye-opener, but loved playing for him, and his teams played beautiful football as well, which I wanted to be involved in. People ask me, did Brian Clough always favour his son Nigel? My second conversation, once I'd actually signed for Nottingham Forest, I was the number 9 at Millwall. I'd always been a number 9. When Cass came in, he was a number 10. So when I went to Nottingham, my concern was who was going to be the number 9, because Nigel Clough was always the number 9 at Nottingham Forest. So when the negotiations had finished, I cheekily said to Brian Clough, by the way, boss, who's going to be the number 9? Can I have the number 9 shirt at Forest? Because that was the centre forward's shirt at the time. And he sort of looked at me and thought, and went, just make sure you're in the first 11, son. And again, just put me down and put me in my position, and I ended up number 10. And that was Cloughy showing me who was boss again. Who the hell do you think you are? And I settled for number 10 and quite enjoyed being the number 10. Training under Cloughy. Wow, what a insight into how he worked. We'd done our pre-season, went out for training on the Monday after the first Saturday game. Trained for about 5 minutes, literally 5-10 minutes, done our warm up, put the cones out, add the little goals up. After 10 minutes, Cloughy shouts, right, that'll do ya. See you Friday. We've got a big game Saturday, get your rest. This was on a Monday morning, and I'd never heard anything like this. We'd do team shape on a Monday, Tuesday at Millwall. We might have the Wednesday off. We'd be doing set pieces on a Thursday. We'd be doing more set pieces on a Friday, making sure we were aware about what the opposition were going to be doing, what we were going to do to break the opposition down. Cloughy just said, you've done enough. It's a long season. Go home, get your rest, big game Saturday. And I was like, seriously? That's it? That's it? If that had come in later in life, I would have quite enjoyed that. But I was still a young lad that wanted to learn more. I was 24, 25 by that time, and I want to train with Stuart Pearce. I want to play alongside Roy Keane every day to rub off on me. You know, show me why you're so good. But that was the way Cloughy worked, and it worked. I started all right at Forest, scored a couple of goals, scored a few goals, and then went through a little bit of a barren spell. I think I went about 9 or 10 games without scoring and got dropped. Came in one day, looked at the team sheet that was always up on the board, saw that my name wasn't on there, absolutely fuming. Thought I was still doing well for the team but hadn't scored. Went in to see the manager and was like, why aren't I playing like sort of attitude? He sat me down, we had a little chat for a little while, and he said to me, his words were, I know exactly how you feel, son. I once went 3 games without scoring. And that was the biggest put down and put me in my place ever. It was, you know, I'd gone 9 or 10 games, and him saying that to me was just like, all right, you was good as well. And I think it was his way. I sat on the bench with him, alongside him as a sub, and listened to the way he barked orders to his team. I think Lee Glover took my place, so it might be Nigel Jempson at the time, to play alongside Nigel Clough. And he barked out orders during the game, and it kind of made me realise exactly what he wanted from his centre forwards while they were on the pitch, because he didn't really have these chats with you, he didn't pull you during training. It was more listen to what I'm telling other people and understand how I want a centre forward to play the game. Came back in the very next game after being dropped. We played against Crystal Palace, scored a hat-trick, a very good hat-trick as well, and was off and running again and back in the goals, and just made me realise, without being told, I realised how he wanted the game to be played, and was a big eye-opener again for me to sit alongside him and listen to how the game was in his mind. My first taste of Wembley was playing for Nottingham Forest that year. I think we had two trips to Wembley that year. We played in the Zenith Data final against Southampton and beat them 3-2. But then we also played against Manchester United in the League Cup final, lost 1-0. I'd like to say I enjoyed it against Manchester United. My first taste of Wembley, but it was when Man United were getting good. Steve Bruce, Gary Pallister were the centre halves, and Dennis Irwin was playing right back as well. We got dominated that day and didn't really play our best and got beat. It was a convincing 1-0, but my first taste of Wembley, and absolutely loved playing it. The grass was mint condition, about this long. The ball zipped off the turf, and it was like, cool, I want some more of that. During that summer, there was a lot of talk about me leaving to go to Tottenham. They'd made bids. It was a little bit off and on. 1 minute it was happening, then the next minute it wasn't happening. And I think it was pretty much similar money. I don't know how it came about, but I'd played the first game of the season. It was when Sky came about, and our first game of the season was Nottingham Forest against Liverpool. We beat them 1-0, and it was when I scored that great goal in the top corner, cut inside on the left wing and drilled it in the top corner. And I remember thinking, we've got a chance of winning the league this year. We've just beaten Liverpool, and we're a good team. I've been here a year and I'm buzzing about it. I got my head around the fact that I was going to be playing for Nottingham Forest, and then 3 games later, or 2 games after that, I'd actually joined Tottenham for £2.1 million, and the deal was finally done after a lot of speculation that summer, and I was coming back to London. Yeah, moving to Tottenham under Terry Venables, there was no doubt that I was going to Tottenham. Once I knew they was in for me to get the chance to play for Terry Venables, I knew it would be great, and I loved every second working for him. He had a way of making you feel comfortable, about making you feel confident, but would also tell you exactly what you needed to do to get better as well. Some people just don't have that. He had a way of making you feel good about it, but still telling you to improve and showing you how to improve. It was just an uncanny way. He had a way of making everyone in the squad feel great, and you wanted to play your best for him. You wanted to work your socks off and make things work on a football pitch. Absolutely loved playing for Terry Venables, without doubt my favourite football manager. Yeah, Darren Anderton had just been signed, I think, a week before, and as soon as I got to Tottenham, I knew that he was a good player. He was getting a little bit of stick. He's a little bit of a shy boy when he first came from Portsmouth to Tottenham, but he used to do things in training that were like, wow. And because it was a big move for him, he was a little bit younger than me. It took him a little while to have lift-off, but what a top player! Without doubt, my favourite player for understanding that I played alongside in my career. I just had an understanding with him that he knew exactly where I was. I knew exactly where he was. I knew where he wanted the ball. He knew where I wanted the ball. How it was played in. It was never just smashed at me, get on with it. It was always played with an air of how do you want it, how do you like it, and I would reciprocate the way I played the pass to him. And what a player, up there with the top players that I played with, without a shadow of a doubt. When I joined Spurs in '92, it was a full circle. I'd trained at Tottenham at 14, played for the Tottenham youth team, Tottenham schoolboys, sorry. And I was a West Ham supporter as a kid. And when I played for Tottenham as a schoolboy, we used to play in the mornings and then get free tickets to watch Tottenham in the afternoon, which is when I fell in love with Glenn Hoddle and how he passed the ball, how he controlled the ball, how all his movements were just so poetic. And I used to get there early just to watch him warm up, even before the game was even played. So I changed from being a West Ham supporter to a Tottenham supporter because of that, because of him really. And then at about 15 I got released from Tottenham, thanks but no thanks, one of those letters. So when I finally signed for Tottenham all those years later in '92, it was like, I remember my first game, my first home game was against Sheffield United it was a night game, Tuesday or Wednesday night, and I just remember warming up, doing my stretches over one side, looking around at the ground and thinking, I'm back home as such, after thinking that I was going to be a Tottenham player, as you do when you're 14, then getting released, doing the full circle, doing the rounds, and then coming back there later on in life was like, yeah, I'm here. I've arrived of where I want to be, where I thought I was going to be a long time ago, hoped I'd be, and now I'm here to play my football. So, yeah. My first season at Tottenham didn't take off so well, goal scoring wise. I'd scored a few, done all right, but I always remember my brother I'd scored a few goals, done all right, thought I was doing all right. But I remember having a bit of Sunday lunch with my brother after about 15 games, about 15 games, around November-ish. And he came to me and he went, by the way, I sat behind the goal in the Park Lane yesterday for your game. We're not really having you, the Tottenham fans. I think you need to do a bit more. And I was like, what are you talking about? I'm doing all right. And I've scored a few goals. And he went, just saying. They're not really having you. You need to pull your finger out if you. And it was like, okay, thanks, bruv, thanks, Jim. Like that, but must have done the trick because after Christmas, went on a goal scoring run and played a lot better, and might have been the kick up the arse I needed, who knows, but went on to win the Golden Boot that year, top scorer in the Premier League, and Golden Boot man. What a start to my Tottenham career, loved it. Without a doubt, losing to Arsenal in the FA Cup semi-final was the low point of the season. Still can see it now. They had a free kick at Wembley in the semi-finals. They had a free kick wide in our left backy sort of position, and we had 5 people in the wall rather than 4. It might have been 4 rather than 3. Neil Ruddock was on the end of the wall rather than picking up Tony Adams at the far post, because they weren't really going to shoot from there. Terry told us afterwards that they weren't really going to shoot from there, so you didn't need so many people in the wall. Centre half should have been at the far post, and Tony Adams had a free header, and I think he scored, didn't he? Or did he head the ball down? And they beat us 1-0 anyway, so without doubt the low point of the season. When I look back at my Tottenham career, it's always with very despondent, especially in the first 5 years. Always ructions in the board. Never everyone pulling in the same direction. It's one of my big disappointments in my footballing career. I was probably at my top of my game personally. 26, I think I joined Tottenham, so 26 till 30, just turning 31. Pinnacle of my career personally, and it didn't really take. We had one little spell when Terry got the sack. Ossie Ardiles came in and he was allowed to spend a bit of money. He brought in Jurgen Klinsmann, Popescu, Dumitrescu, and it seemed like things were on the up. And we were ambitious for that little period. That was the great period at Tottenham. In my 5 years, I suppose we had 8 months of excitement. Terry got the sack through having disputes with the board and Alan Sugar. Didn't like each other, didn't like the way each other worked, and that was the end of that. And I was absolutely gutted when he left. Ossie Ardiles coming in though was great as well for me. Loved playing for Ossie. Still remember his team talk to this day, his first team talk. I knew it was going to be problems. He got us all in the canteen. There was every player, all the staff, youth team as well in there. And we all sat in there and he said, look, this is my philosophy on football. I just, when you get on the ball, I want everybody to play. Play. Pass the ball, join in, go and help your mate. A little bit like the Cloughy one, but a little bit more in depth to it. As soon as the ball goes to Teddy, I was the number 9 at the time, the centre forward. Everybody fly forward. And I just thought, oh geez, everybody fly forward. This could be chaos. Just the way he talked about it. He said, if the left back's putting in a cross down in the deep in that position, I want the right back coming in at the far post, shutting off it so it doesn't go out of play. And it was like, wow, so this is proper attacking football, isn't it? Pretty much like what Pep Guardiola's doing now. It is a very much attacking, forward-thinking football. But we didn't think about the consequences at the back. That was the only problem. And if we'd have worked a little bit more about what happens when it does break down, we could have been a really formidable team. Instead, it was an exciting, way for me, being a forward player, everybody fly forward and join in, yeah, great, but didn't really work for us in the long run, and Ossie's time at the helm came to an abrupt end, which was very disappointing. Loved Terry as a manager, but I knew there was problems up above. You know, Alan Sugar wanted to be involved, and used to come to the training ground, and he used to grunt at us as people. You know, talk down to us, and I didn't like that way that he spoke to us, and I think I spoke back to him in a similar manner a couple of times, and he was probably put out by that as well, and wasn't probably right of me to speak to my big boss in that way, but just the air that he had was he was talking down to us, and I responded to that, and probably didn't have the best association with Alan Sugar because of that reason, really. So our relationship wasn't great, no. So during Ossie's reign as manager at Tottenham, he came to me one day and he said, I'm thinking about signing someone. Tell me what you think. And I was like, oh, go on, Ossie. I'd never had a manager speak to me about who he was going to sign before. And he went, I'm thinking about signing Maradona. What do you think? And I went, oh, seriously? Do it, Oz, do it. That's unbelievable. He obviously knew him, being an Argentinian as well. And I was like, I still remember to this day, I was in the medical room and he just pulled me there and he went, Maradona. I was like, jeez, Ozzie, do it, please do it. I'd love to play in the same team as him. So 3 or 4 days later, he came back to me and he went, Ted, just letting you know, not going to sign Maradona. And I was like, he said, no, it's too much baggage. I can't do it. I can't bring him here. But I've got a replacement. I want to know your thinking. I went, go on. He went, Jurgen Klinsmann. And I was like, wow, that'll do for me. Just won the World Cup with Germany. Was just an unbelievable player. And how exciting. He came into Tottenham, he was like a breath of fresh air. He was like an enthusiastic 17-year-old boy trying to impress us with every training session he did. Talented, work ethic was unbelievable. World Cup winner, could have come in and swanned around, but he was just unbelievable. Obviously had a reputation for being a bit of a diver. The crowd had picked up on that, the press had picked up on that, and I remember Dave Kerslake saying to me, here Ted, get Klinsmann to do a dive and we'll all do a dive afterwards, like to you know, to piss the press off, eh? How about that? And it was like, yeah, so we pulled Jurgen and we said to him, look, you understand you've got a bit of a diving reputation. He was like, what do you mean? He hadn't really cottoned on it. It was like, well, we're telling you, you have got a bit of a reputation for being a bit theatrical during a World Cup and all that. So when you score your first goal, go over, you do the dive, we'll all do the dive with you. And he was like, okay, I'll do that. So we played Sheffield Wednesday, first game of the season. He scores one of the goals, and we were all like, Jurgen, the dive. And he was running off celebrating. He was like, yeah. So he goes off, he dived, I dived, Darren and Stuart never caught. Kurz came run out. It was just a 2-finger salute to the press to say Jurgen's here and he's going to enjoy it. Lovely. So Ossie gets the sack. His way of playing didn't really work. Absolutely gutted again. 2 managers on the spin that I love playing for. Just all going wrong for my time at Tottenham, really. This is into my 3rd year now. Gerry Francis comes in, who was very, very organised, 2 banks of 4. This is how we're going to play, very disciplined. Loved it, yeah, loved the way Gerry played. He took me under his wing as well as a manager, spoke to me quite a bit, and I really liked playing for Gerry, especially after the way we'd played under Ossie. It was obvious things needed to change, and he came in, but there was still upheavals between the board and the club, really, and from my point of view, the club weren't weren't ambitious now and spending the big money on the likes of Klinsmann. He'd left and Popescu was still there, but the players that were coming in now weren't the calibre of what I was hoping for or what I'd been used to, and it was like, I don't like this, I'm not happy. And Sugar was making his grumblings, and I'd been out injured a little bit, and he'd got thought that I didn't want to play for Tottenham anymore because my favourite managers weren't at the club and all that, and it was just a turbulent time. Gerry came in and steadied the ship as such, but by this time, you know, I'd had 5 years at Tottenham and things weren't going in the right manner to what I had hoped, and I felt the club had lacked ambition for the players that were coming in, and it got to the end of that season, and I'd had negotiations about a new deal, but got in another row with the chairman about how much or how long the term of the contract was going to be, and it was like, do you know what? I felt, you know, after this, during this, it was like, I want to be at Tottenham, but I don't if I'm not going to be playing with the best players in the country, in the world. So I handed in a transfer request, and Gerry wasn't happy about that. He didn't want me to do that, and I just said, look, Gerry, I'm not happy. Chairman's not really buzzing about me either, I don't think. So I think it's best if I leave. And he was like, no, I want you to think about it. And I said, look, here's my transfer request. And went away at the end of that season and just hoped that someone would come in for me where I could go and really, really enjoy my football. Yeah, always remember my goals, and scored a nice hat-trick for Tottenham against Newcastle. It was the old corner that I used to do with Darren Anderton, that I worked with him. That was, people talk to me about that corner, you know, it must have taken a lot of working out, and it was like, nah, it wasn't a lot of working out at all. I just said to Darren Anderton, pass the ball to me at a good pace to my right foot. I used to stand level with the goalpost on the edge of the area, and the ball used to come in from the right, and I used to say to Darren, hit the ball to my right foot, away from this man that's marking me in front of me, and I'll do a little bit of movement. You just make sure the ball comes to my right foot. And whatever I said to Darren, he would be able to put the ball exactly where I wanted it. You know, a lot of people, if you're told that, if it comes 2 yards there to my left foot, I wouldn't have got the contact that I would. But he just knew that it was exactly, he would look at me to where I was. By the time he was running up, he would play it to my right foot. I would move away from, as he was running up, I would move away from the defender as if I was going round the back to do a far post header. And as he was about to strike it, he would have his head down, he would aim for my right foot. So by the time I'd gone 2 yards that way, that defender moves that way, I would come back to where I was, he'd play it to my right foot, and I'd get the shot in, and the defender would still be trying to get back on terms. So did one of those free kicks, one of those corners again, scored one goal from that one, scored a lovely goal with the outside of my right foot into the top corner, and then scored a third one as well. So hat-tricks were always lovely in my household. Yeah, I remember going to Liverpool as well in the quarter-final of the Cup, in the FA Cup. Beat them 2-1, I scored one, Jurgen set me up, Jurgen scored one, I set him up. And I remember to this day, coming off the pitch after we'd celebrated with the Tottenham fans, all the Liverpool fans clapped us off the pitch. And it was my first insight into English football, appreciation of the opposition. You know, they're obviously so disappointed with how their team had gone out of the quarter-final of the FA Cup, but was so appreciative of how we'd gone to Anfield and, I'd say, played them off the park. We won the game. So, you know, it was like, as we were walking off, we kind of looked round as it, wow, that's for us. That's for us. That's the opposition crowd applauding us off the pitch. That is something. I like that, and absolutely walked off and clapped them back. Thank you very much. That was appreciation of the top level. Coming to the end of the 96-97 season, I'd just become disillusioned with life at Tottenham, and I wanted to, I'm coming to 30, 31 now, and I wanted to be challenging for honours. I wanted to be winning things. I wanted to be playing football with the best players in the world. And I clearly saw that wasn't going to be happening. No disrespect to Gerry. I really liked playing football for him. Roger Cross was his assistant as well. So, you know, my footballing life had gone full circle, and I'm back working with Roger as well. So I had no problems with the management at all. I just didn't like where the club were heading at the time. So put in my transfer request and just hoped that someone would come in for me during that summer. I'd heard little chats about Newcastle and Liverpool being interested, so just hoped that by going away in the summer they would hear about my transfer request going in, and hopefully that one of them or maybe someone else would come in and make a beeline for me. So I went away that summer, enjoyed my time in America for a couple of weeks. Didn't get a lot of time off, I remember, because I think we had a couple of games for England. It was eating into the summer, but anyway, got a couple of weeks holiday. Came back to my flat in Buckersteel, and on my aunt's machine I had 3 missed calls from my dad, which was very unusual. Ted, where are you? Give us a call. Ted, where are you? Give us a call. Ted, where are you? I'm trying to get in touch with you. Give me a call as soon as you can. And I'm like, bump, 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 3 messages. And I thought, that's unusual for my dad. I'd just arrived back from America, and I thought I better phone him before things, find out what's going on. I knew it wasn't a problem. It was an excited, where are you? It wasn't a worried one for some reason. So I rang my dad and I went, all right, Dad, everything all right? And he went, yeah. I'm glad you called. Tottenham have agreed a fee with an English club. You've got to go and speak to them. And I'm like, all right, go on. Who is it? And he went, well, have a guess. And I went, well, is it Newcastle? Because they was the ones that was showing most interested. And he went, no, have another guess. And I went, it must be Liverpool then, because they showed a little bit of interest. It must be Liverpool. And he went, no, better than that. And I went, not Man United. And he went, yeah, they've just agreed a fee with Tottenham. You've got to go and speak to them this afternoon. And I went, oh my God, wow, get me up there as quick as I can. So phoned my agent, Barry Neville, told him, and he went, let's go, let's sort the flight out, let's get up there. Got up to Manchester United, up to Manchester that night, and agreed a deal with Martin Edwards. And by that night by the next morning, I was a Manchester United player. Wow, what a turnaround of events. I'd actually spoke to Martin Edwards that night, and I remember Sir Alex Ferguson was away at the time, so he wasn't part of the negotiations. And I said to Martin Edwards, before I'd signed, I said, can I just speak to the manager? And he was like, okay, if you want to, here's his number. I said, or can you ring him? And I just want a quick chat. And he was like, okay. So Martin Edwards phoned Sir Alex, and he said, Teddy just wants to speak to you. And I was like, yeah. I said, Sir Alex, I just want to speak to you. You hear a lot of stories about boardroom or chairman signing players. I just want to make sure that it's you that wants me to come to Man United and not anybody else. And he went, oh yes, son, oh yeah, can't wait to work with you. And I went, that'll do for me. That's all I want to do here. I put the phone down. I was like, right, I'm a Man United player. Where's the pen? Let's put it to paper. Beautiful. Well, that's my story, Teddy Sheringham as a professional footballer. I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly enjoyed talking about it. If you enjoyed it, I'd like you to donate to Great Ormond Street Children's Hospital. It'll all come across the bottom there. Give what you can, please.